Hey everyone, welcome back to the Particle Accelerator podcast, where we talk to future thinking business leaders about how to grow their team and accelerate their business. I'm here today with Prashant. Prashant, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Ben. My name is Prashant Shah. I am the supply chain leader for SwagUp. Um, I have about 20 years of experience in supply chain industry, and prior to that, I used to be a U.S. Marine. So I kind of know the logistics side of the military as well as the logistics and supply chain side of the corporate civilian world, we used to say. So thank you for having me, and excited to have this further conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for your service. Appreciate it. I come from a family. I'm the outcast in my family for not having served, but my brother's currently a chief warrant officer stationed in Alaska. And my brother served in Iraq. My dad was in the Navy, served in Vietnam. So big military family. We really appreciate all of our service members.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Cool. Well, the way I like to get to know people is asking, like, what was your first job? Could probably have a whole podcast on this, but for me, it was a paper route. That's how I made my first buck. What was it for you?
My first job was after I came to the United States when I was turning 20 years old. I used to work in Target on the sales floor, and that's where I started understanding the supply chain moments of it.
Yeah, you enjoyed it so much, you joined the Marine Corps, right?
No, in fact, that's the funny thing. I went back. I joined the Marines, and when I get medical discharge, I joined back to Target because that is one of those organizations that provides a good structural element to it for ease of transition for any military personnel. So I'm
Cool.
big about those things.
Awesome. Well, what toy or hobby did you have as a child that inspired what you do career-wise today?
I would say it's completely different. The hobbies did not match what I do today, honestly, but I had a passion of duty, I can say, towards giving back. I come from the family and the society where giving back to others and back to the society is extremely important. It could be any form of it, and I chose to be in the military. So it's just ironic. As you say, you were outcast not to be in the military. I'm outcasted in a way that I was in the military. Everybody's in the business or being a doctor, PhDs, and so forth. I'm not.
Yeah, cool. Well, what was your favorite and least favorite course in school?
I will say least favorite. Uh, Believe it or not, social studies, we call it, and the favorite was mathematics.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
love it. Yeah, I had social studies was always kind of that, like, what do I really need to do to get the right grade?
Right.
And yeah, mathematics, it was always like if the answer was correct, the grade was good.
Right. And even today, I lead with facts and data, and math helps me. So,
That's cool. Well, what quote from a famous person lives rent free in your mind?
in fact, I have mixed it up my own code, I can say. I think I just spoke my own code, but my favorite one of what I have been always saying is leaders lead with facts and data. I
Hmm.
think that's for me is extremely important because that keeps the emotions out of the way and can make a soundful decision for any kind of business or even a military organization. And that's something I give it back to the military side, the Marine side. We were always taught look at what's around you and not through too much of emotions, just facts and data behind it.
Mm, really cool.
Yep.
What was the greatest invention or discovery you feel in the past 300 years?
Oh my goodness, there are so many of them. Um, But I will say the recent one where I know we are talking about AI and whole lot of it, but the recent one I believe the blockchain is one of the big ones, which is still getting lifted, or are we just scratching the surface of it? I think that's what I'm not a subject matter expert, But as much as I am aware of it, I think it can solve a lot of issues that we have right now with solving a complex problem, I can say, is one of those areas that can do that.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's a great segue into the main round of questions. What tech trends significantly impacted your industry and how did your company respond?
I would say it was an other way around, especially recently within in the COVID timeframe, the promotion industry took off because a lot of people were not in the offices and everybody who needed stuff from the house. The HR individuals or anyone who wants promotional items or corporate gifting, we can also say the same format of it. Um, I would say we took off, and from there we have plateaued as an industry. Some of the
Mm,
companies are doing well, most of them are plateaued. So that being said, I think we are in the verge of uh, um, implementing AI, or I can say automation, that will help us enhancing our procurement, warehouse operations, forecasting models, and helping finance to really understand what the end-to-end operation looks like.
cool. Um, I'm surprised, I guess, a little bit, just to respond to that. I'm surprised a little bit that COVID was an accelerator for promotional gifting. I can understand the gift giving probably increased, but would have thought that like the lesser conferences and events, at least for a period of time. But it makes sense. So did you see that the shift to remote is now bringing people together for these larger events, and then therefore the gifts are increasing?
Yes, during the COVID, because most of people have started working from home, it was extremely important to keep the morale intact with the company. So companies were spending high level of percentage of their money into engagement portion of it,
Mm,
which is why promotional at what part of the promotion industry we are in, that has that has gone up. Now going back to the conferences, and now conferences back on track and everybody's going. Now the other part of the promotion industry where they service the conferences and so forth, they are now getting back in track as well.
mm,
And the our side of it is like kind of plateaued, but not has hit, but it has plateaued, I can say. But
interesting, really
overall,
interesting.
promotion industry is definitely up and up. As total as you look into it, it's probably $60 billion worth of promotion industry throughout the world that is accounted for. The unaccounted could be up to $100 billion easy.
Yeah, really cool. Well, what three technology innovations are you betting on to drive your business growth?
Um, can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, what three technology innovations are you betting on to drive your business growth?
I wouldn't say three, but what we are working on in our segment, or more so in our company, we are trying to build our own technology. Because we are in such a niche area, it is very hard to find something that fits 100% to what our business needs are. And we also look at ourselves a kind of a unicorn within the promotional industry. So we have our own tech team that builds our internal technologies for us. Yes, some of them we use is like a Salesforce and everything for order management system. We do use it externally. That's not externally, but internally that's integrated with our own tech portion of it. But
Mhm,
most of it is all internal build. That is basically integrated with the Salesforce and so forth.
mhm.
We are always continue to look into um, um, we are definitely exploring a lot of AI models right now to assist us to bring efficiency and clarity within our operations as well. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you finding that works best with AI? Or I heard what you said. You're using AI models to gain efficiency, but can you be more specific about a particular use case? I mean, I think we're all using it to help us write messaging faster. It's certainly accelerating the
Right.
speed to delivery on marketing campaigns. Um, Anything unique you found in your particular industry?
So yes, marketing definitely you hit the nail on that. On a supply chain side, especially on the CX side, we are also looking into how we can respond back to our customer more with a
Sure.
more clear answers perspective. Currently, when a customer asking, there's a human behind the computer answering, looking for those datas and answering back to the customer, which the data is already there in our system. The human is taking time to pull that data and giving that answer to the customer is something that AI can do much faster and more accurately, where we can use that particular human being to do on a very high level decision making jobs rather than doing an administrative work. I
Mm.
truly believe that AI is a great to be a part of that skill set where it takes over all the administrative work, which is like more of a same um, job or same work every minute over minute or hour by hour that can get and human to nowhere and get really bored very quickly. Something that AI can take over and humans can start being more
Yeah.
creative around
They're
it.
actually starting to call that whole category of chatbotting or directional intelligence. Like, somebody comes in with a user query and you go into
Right.
your APIs or whatever, and you pull out they're calling that whole category just agents, AI agents,
Right.
which is really that whole chatbot quadrum of work, um, where you're really just using um, the LLM to understand what the user asks for and turn
Right.
that into some kind of structured request. So yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I think every business should be examining the role of agents inside of their business. We're working on one for e-commerce. So rather than like, even if you go to Amazon, now there's Rufus, which you could just
Right.
ask Rufus what you want. The old way was you search something on Amazon and then you have to go through the filters and filter on the brand or filter on this or filter on that to bring down the number of possible search results. But what we're also finding in e-commerce is that people want to search multiple categories simultaneously. Like, hey, show me all the things that are blue that would go in my house. And so it'll show you pillows and couches and bed sheets, and you can kind of do a color search across multiple categories. So I find that really fascinating
No,
that we're
that
seeing.
is funny because that's exactly what we are trying to do. And we have, I think it's gonna come out soon within a month or so on our website. It's something along the line that we do onboarding packs, event packs for the companies and so forth. The company now can search and say, hey, I want Thanksgiving packs that I wanted to give it to my employees, and it will create a Thanksgiving pack. Or I need a Christmas pack for a Christmas event. And it will create an options for those packs, 5, 6 items, whatever you want in there, and with your logos on it, so at least you can see how it looks like. So that is
Great.
some exactly what we are trying to do as well.
That's awesome. Well, what are the most significant gaps between your ambitions and the realities of today?
My personal ambitions, I will say the reality right now is that when I'm looking at a supply chain as a whole, the tracking compatibility is not there. When I look at vendor compatibility, they are not there because there are some smaller vendors who does not have the infrastructure to do the integration and does not just have an overall infrastructure to provide all the information. And they are the big ones that can do that. But we work with all shapes and sizes, I can say, with the vendors and suppliers, and real-time tracking, which implementing, which is facing our challenges, with the vendor capability, like having real-time inventory. We
Yeah.
don't know. That's one of the big one that we always face and always have faced. Nobody's is able to solve it. My ambition, my I can say digital ambition, as you said in the question, is one of those ambitions to have that, but it is a very big ask right now where the supply chain stands in any industry, not just promotional industry.
Yeah, this is a difficult thing for any kind of aggregator, We have some clients that are aggregating. Just supply chain aggregation is such a challenge because of what the very reason you said. Manufacturers are not very sophisticated,
Right.
and then they're serving multiple aggregators and distributors, and so what they say they had yesterday may not be what they have today, and then you have lead times, and um, yeah, it is a challenge. I almost feel like, is a distributor served somehow to almost provide like an inventory tracking system or a production system to these vendors, but we see that also the details that they're giving about their products is very, is not what the customer expects. The customer wants to know, how will it feel in my hand, basically. And there's not enough description and data content in there. We've been using AI to look at sometimes the manufacturer's images to better perfect their own descriptions and specs on the items. And we feel lucky to even just get accurate dimensions from them.
That is really funny about dimension, dims and weights changes even though it's the same product because or depending on how they package it. So every manufacturer packages also the same item differently, and it changes the dims and weight, and it throws off everybody's inventory front of the line. So absolutely, and to your point, also another that I would say ambitions versus reality. I would love to see the new technology that's coming up that can easily be integrated with the legacy systems.
Mm.
That's something is still a very challenging portion because legacy system will not have the new specs to integrate with the new tech. But the new tech can be done, in my perspective, or should be doing that without any disruption. I think right now we are having a lot of disruption when we are trying to get in a new tech that can that can be a real game changer, but because of the fear of disruption, a lot of companies are not implementing the new tech because of the integration issues with legacy systems.
Yeah, in fact, my company, that's one of the things we focus on is application modernization. And what we are finding is that there's this world of legacy tech out there, or businesses that made the majority of their tech investments um, probably 2015 or prior. Probably that 2015 to 2018 is probably, if their major tech investments were prior to 2018, they are not able to take advantage of the AI advancements and the data system advancements that are available today. So their data is being held hostage inside of the legacy system, and their cost to iterate is extremely high. So if they want to make changes in those legacy systems, they're having trouble finding the
Mhm.
right kind of expertise to work on them.
Right.
Um, and so their data is basically stuck in there, and it can't be integrated with in a real-time way. So you end up with flat file exports and the whole EDI flat, file formats. And I know I'm talking to somebody who knows all
Right.
about that. And it just is so cumbersome, right? I
Right.
mean, if I have to touch another EDI file, I think I, might lose my mind. And
Correct.
it's not efficient. And the cost per iteration is super high. So what we're helping a lot of people with is getting them into a more modern system. And what we're finding is that since the cost and the technology to develop software has advanced so much, that it is cheaper for them to rewrite the system into modern software on the modern cloud and unlock those new possibilities than it is to just get one version or one feature in the old legacy system. So we've made a big press for, like, one of our visions is to replace the world's legacy tech with modern web services. Um, and you just nailed the reason why we're doing that is because you're finding it hard to even work with those companies.
Right. No, I agree. 100% agreed on that. I think no one has all the industries are going through this challenge. It's not just one industry or one company. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you for allowing me to just like plug a commercial there right in the middle of the podcast, because you hit what I'm most passionate about, which is this idea of application modernization.
Makes sense.
Well, what do you see the biggest challenges for you to maintain a competitive edge in your industry?
Um, I would say we have to get to the point, and we are working on it. I will say overall business strategy. I think that's gonna be one which has good tech roadmap included in there. But also, what I see is it has to have a collaborative approach, right? Where we involve our engineering team, finance team, our product team, supply chain team as a part of these roadmaps. And because end of the day, what we want to do, we just don't have a strategy, but we want to have a strategy that is efficient, which is customer centric, and also scalable for the future. And that's where we are aligning ourselves as a part of the executive team in the company, and even the other executives that I'm talking to in the industry.
Yeah. Cool. Well, how do you have any advice for how to do that, connecting the technology roadmap to the overall business strategy?
So when I'm looking at the overall business strategy, I before where what I have seen other companies to do so, and where they do it, they have a bunch of goals and vision for the year. I think streaming them down to only three, that makes sense for that year. And everything has to, all the decision making and all the roadmaps, including technology roadmap, has to be aligned with that three specific goals. Now, three could be all financial goals. It could be three all tech goals. It could be mixed bag of different areas or different visions. Could be just a gross margin. Hey, just we just could be let's implement technology just for efficiency purposes. Or it could be just supply chain goals, but it has to be stick to the goals for 12 months. And create the roadmap around it, and just work towards that, but also aligning other departments, other areas with that roadmap, because end of the day, if one area is moving faster, it indirectly affects everyone else. So you have to get the buy-ins from other individuals and other departments as we create this roadmap, because it needs to benefit everyone. You don't want to manually or purposely create like kind of a roadblock for someone else, or even create a flow issue within the company by having one department too much forward thinking or too much efficient versus another one did not get enough technology for being an efficient.
Yeah, it makes sense. Are you using a particular framework or methodology like OKRs or SMART goals?
We do that. We have OKRs and we do have SMART goals. So SMART goals more on the lower level side, where we have supply chain teams and so forth, more of a physical side of it. OKRs, we use it on a very high level with that within the executives. And then in the middle, we use all the KPIs depending on the departments to monitor the progresses. We also went down from having a multiple KPIs to a meaningful KPIs of around 5 to 6 per department. Before we used to have 10, 12 per department, which did not serve the purpose of it.
Yeah. I like the idea of centering on three. How do you guys handle like the cascading? So you start with the three, and then do you have directors and managers all to also do three? How do you handle kind of how it
Yes.
flows
So
through?
what I do is once we have three for the company, I give that vision to the each department heads, and everything they do for next quarter, 6 months, or a year has to be aligned to one of the three or all three elements of it. And I want to make sure that the directors and the VPs that reports to me, they are aligning to those vision, but also understanding why those goals are important to the company, and what the kind of an ROI looks like once they finish the projects around it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And then are you guys how are you compressing? Are you doing any form of time compression? So like What I've seen a lot of people do is they're aggressively recalibrating on the quarter, or some folks are really aggressive at the mid-year, or they just set the goals for the year. And how do you guys see time compression? Like those are annual objectives, but then if you're only checking in on them once a year, that doesn't work very well. So how do you guys do that?
So the projects I do bi-weekly, KPIs I do weekly, and projects bi-weekly. Compression or changing the goals if needed to be, it will depend on the size of the company or the department. I have come from the companies where it's a billions of dollars of company where it's disruptive to continue to change the goals every month or every quarter. That will hurt the company more than anything else. But companies like startups, that which I'm in right now, it makes sense to continue to go with the flow or change and be fluid around it as the competition or as the new as the environment changes around us. So it depends on the scenario that executive is in. Right now I'm in startups, so definitely every month or two we have to recalibrate and really understand, is that stay still the same three goals or not. So ours is not, hey, can we do in January and by December we wanted to do that? No, we can come back in March and change it, and it could be up to the next March. So it's like a rotation of 12 months could be the right verbiage for the startups, but for the bigger companies, it could be the full year until you reach the goals. And it also helps in keeping the engagement of the management team or the leaders, because end of the day they also wanted to see something accomplished and make sure that they are on their personal career progression perspective, they can see all the wins that was put in front of them, so they can get promoted, they can get recognized, they can get their bonuses, so that they can have a continued path within the company. Continue changing of the goals may not serve to the best interest of the people at that point.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean that all makes sense. We've recently tried more of a EOS has more of like a 90-day planning cycle, and we're inspired by that. We were finding that we were letting some goals go on too long without enough planning. And so EOS has like 90-day objectives that are inspired by the annual objective, but 90-day objectives and then weekly plans. So you take a 90-day, you break it down in, and then we're also reading that book, The One Thing, as a management team, to try to draw in more focus on like
Right.
what's the one thing I'm going to do this week that has, that either makes the world more efficient, where it's easier for me to hit the goals, or directly helps me hit the goals.
Understood. No, that makes sense. I have not
Cool.
read that. I would look into that.
Yeah, it's a great book. Great book. Even even just oftentimes I kind of chase shiny objects in my business leadership, and so it's a great reminder to me to give people, get people focus and get alignment on those one things. And it's been helping the team
I
tremendously.
have seen a lot of young leaders to go after the shiny object until they get the knowledge and the wisdom of not to do so.
Right, right.
So
Yeah,
I completely understand.
multitasking is a bit of an illusion, right?
Right. But I think it takes time for those individuals to realize. I think this is one of those things that you cannot teach on the get-go. It has to be, most of them has to experience the failure of it, which is the greatest success, to be honest.
Sure, sure. Love that. Well, what lessons have you learned from initiatives that failed to deliver expected value?
Uh, I would say in my early days, I will say stakeholder buy-ins. It was very crucial to any tech adoption, I can say. That was one of them. Um, the second one I can realize is the piloting projects on a smaller scale so that we can identify all the issues early. That's something has been I'm driving that for many years now, but that was the early lessons for me or learnings for me. And from the Marine Corps time prioritizing change management for for good team adaptations to smooth transitions. I think every leader needs to understand and learn how to do the change management so that they can be successful in their careers. That's the big one for my end.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to invest in people, right? Otherwise,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, awesome. Well, how do you cultivate a culture of innovation and digital fluency within your organization?
Um, I usually work on small wins, as I said, trying to identify early issues, but also identify small wins. I think that's also very, very important, and celebrate them with the team, which also creates a safer space, engaged space, high morale environment, and that kind of experiment really helps. The second one I can think of is more about encouraging new ideas. When I say new ideas, I give them time and space to fail. I want them to fail because if they are not failing, that means they are not trying new ideas. So
Mhm.
the more failures they have, and my team has, and I myself have, is great because that's what I really want um, for that innovation, and that's how I reward innovative thinking. For me, it's not when we write our resume, we probably have one, two, or max three-page on resume. But if somebody tells me to write my failures, it's going to be a whole book, right? So big difference, right? Why I wish somebody asked me for my failure of a resume than a success of my resume, and
Sure.
that's where my thinking is about. And the last one I can think of is just continue to train my team and invest in my team through assisting them with the new tools, making them more analytical. As I say, I'm math major. I love mathematics, so analytics flows in my DNA. That's something big on me. So that's something I invest in my team.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Share an experience, or just, what would you share with somebody who's just starting their career?
A lot of people say have a clear vision. I would be the first one to say don't have a clear vision because in the early days, you can't have a clear vision. If you have it, something is off. Maybe you are mistaken as you have a goal and not a vision. Um, very few people will, very, very significant people will may have a clear vision, but most of us don't. So I think having setting a measurable goal, I think is a great start rather than just looking for a clear vision. That's number one. As you build a new business or somebody's building a new business and is new to the business idea of it, I would say, yes, it's great to be a customer first approach on the part of it and be customer centric, but really understand what their pain points are. You don't want to serve and don't want to be just another person who's solving and giving the solution as another 10 people out there. Try to figure out what the main gaps and the points are, and then provide, see if you can solve that issue, and go after it. um, the another one is as you get into building the companies bigger, larger companies, um, or avoid silos within the cross-functional teams, and have a good insights and in the diverse in gain diverse teams basically. I think there is always teams within the teams, is that something you want to avoid, and you want to create the teams accordingly and have great leaders in place. um, and I will say emphasize, I used to say this, but emphasize agility a lot. And anytime prepare to pivot. I have not found one company who starts with one product or one services and has become big with the same product and the same services. They all have pivoted somewhere along the line in their journey, and they will continue to pivot. So if you want to stay in the game, understand that pivoting is the part of the game.
Mhm.
So
Well, cool.
that, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. If people like what you've had to share today, how should they? Well, let me ask you a question about that.
Sure.
Sorry, we have a few more minutes here. You mentioned don't have a vision but have goals. What's the difference to you between a vision and goals?
So let's say vision could be I want to set I want to build a company, or I want to get rid of all the carbon footprint that we have in New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey, so I want to have a New Jersey as a the least amount of carbon footprint. That could be my vision, but sometime taking a small goals and understanding, like, okay, what can I do first as a step one? Really understanding how those things are happening and why those things are happening is going to be the first goal. Number two goal could be, can I help smaller companies to achieve that, or the newer companies to achieve that? And then set the next goal to a medium company, to the large company, to help them and assist to get rid of the carbon emission, or carbon footprint, that how big it is in New Jersey, for example, in transportation industry. So having a clear vision is great, but I was setting the goals is even more important. Sometime you can have a vision, but without goals, you can't get to the visions. So rather work on the goals than the vision, because vision can come as you get into the goals and really understand what the gaps and issues are, on a bigger scale.
Yeah. I feel like having a vision, it's like what is on the horizon. It's like your North Star, it's your general direction. The goals are like the destinations along the way. So, I want to go to the beach in Florida and I'm on the train for that. The goals are like the stops along the way. And
Right.
yeah, I might end up in Miami. I might end up in Orlando. Maybe I only make it to Savannah, Georgia, right? But I'm still headed in that general direction. And I think we're saying the same thing, but I think you're saying have a loose grip on your vision,
Right.
and a tighter grip on your goals.
Goals. Correct. Correct.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if people like what you've had to share today, how should they connect with you?
You can get with me on a LinkedIn, or my personal Gmail account, which I have it, uh, which is psha8460 at gmail.com. Or it could be even at my cell phone, which is 973-978-9607. I get lots of phone calls, nothing wrong with that. Text.
Cool.
And I'll try my best to get back to you.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we'll make sure to get your LinkedIn in the show notes. And we appreciate you spending time with us today. Thank you
Okay.
for being on the show.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it and love the talk. Thank you.